innocence lost, sin took the fall. Love gave a gift most precious of all.
Hey everybody, this is Heather Thomas Van Deren, and I want to welcome you to the testimony video series called What Love Means. And as you have seen over the past couple of months, we have some great interviews that we have been able to get at the Texas Hill Country Gospel Jubilee. And it has been so much fun. And today I'm going to be interviewing Jimmy and Debbie Riley. They are musicians. Jimmy is in the ministry. Well, y'all are both in the ministry, actually. And they have an incredible story that I can't wait for you to hear. First of all, I would like for you guys to share quickly just your salvation testimonies.
Go ahead.
I've been saved since a little girl. I grew up in church. My grandfather was a minister, and all my family was in church. But came to the realization after I grew up, got married, and went away, that it was more than growing up in church.
Yeah.
It was a deeper walk with Him. Mm-hmm. And sitting in a church service in Houston, Texas, matter of fact, went to this church that I'd never been to before with a friend. And they didn't have chairs, they had carpet squares, and they gave you a carpet square, and you sat on the floor, and they turned the lights out, and then only the stage was lit up.
Wow.
And in the middle of that music and the preaching, it hit me deep that I needed something more than what I had as a little girl, that God was drawing me into a deeper walk and a deeper ministry with Him. And so I literally accepted the Lord. Like I said, I grew up knowing the Lord and feeling like I was saved, but I had never made the salvation walk, saying, "Lord, I accept you," and
to take
forgive
it from
me
here
all
to
my
here.
sins. Yes, yes.
What about you, Jimmy?
Well, I grew up in church, like she said. My dad was a preacher.
Oh.
And I grew up, I felt the call of ministry on my life when I was little. I've sang all my life as far back as I can remember. I learned to play the guitar when I was about 12 years old. And as I got older, at the age of 17, some things had happened, and I wasn't happy, and I left home when I was 17 years old. And
those are turbulent times at that age,
I became an alcoholic by the time I was 19.
Oh.
And what I was doing was I was running from God.
Exactly.
In January of 1985, God had brought Debbie back into my life, and I asked her to marry me. She said no. I won't marry you with you in a bottle. And
that's great. Yeah.
And I went in and gave my heart to the Lord and surrendered my life to Christ. That was when I realized that I couldn't run from God, because wherever I ran, God was already there. And so
that's good.
I gave my heart and my life to the Lord and surrendered Him, and He began to call us into the ministry. We began a singing ministry, and then the Lord began to take us into the evangelistical field, where eventually I became a pastor.
And
I pastored in Gonzales, Texas for almost 3 years. And then the Lord moved us to Jordanton, Texas, and I've been there ever since.
When she said it's like outside of San Antonio.
Yes.
San Antonio. Okay, well, now I know a little bit about your story, so we're going to wind back a little bit more and talk about being 12 years old.
Oh, goodness.
You guys have known each other since then,
Our
right?
church had singings, kind of like Texas Hill Country Jubilee does. And once a month, different churches would have youth meetings or singings, and we would see each other. All the kids would and the different youth groups would be at those singings, and we became friends and boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. And that's where I met him, and we fell in love. Right off the bat.
She still has your heart.
Yes. And it went from there. We would get together, just seeing each other once a month at church. Kids today can't believe that. We just saw each other once a month. And I would write. He didn't write back. I would
Guys are bad at that, aren't they?
Exactly. And I think we called maybe every other month. I'd call or he'd call. But he was on the radio station, and with his parents, they had a radio program on Sunday morning. So I'd listen every Sunday morning. That was my thing. And we lived in Seagate on the river, and so we could not get that radio station without either going in the boat out in the middle of the river or going halfway into town. So my dad would have to get up, and unsaved, mind you, and take me to the river in the boat so I could hear my boat.
I was going to say, I would vote for the boat.
Yeah. Or we'd drive halfway into town so I could hear that radio program. And of course, every song he sang was my song.
Aww.
It was just for me, even though I knew it wasn't, but that was my thing. And he used to sing a song that said, "Now I have everything," and I would tell Dad, "That's just for me. That's just for me." And of course, he meant the Lord. Now he had the Lord and he had everything. But that's kind of how we met. And
young love.
Yeah. And at 16, we wanted to get married, and I was a year older, so my mother said no, that wasn't allowed back then. That was not a thing. And I was a year older. And his parents didn't like me, and mine didn't like him, and mine had already kind of chose somebody that they did like. And so to get away from home, and I always tell my granddaughter, no matter how bad home is, it can always be worse. And so I chose to go ahead and get married anyway, even though, like you said, I knew all the way down the aisle that God was saying no, no, no.
Yeah.
And yet I kept saying, no, it'll work out, it'll work out.
You kind of get caught
in
between, a rock and a hard spot, as they say, because you want to please your parents, and you want, I know.
So we went our separate ways, and I don't think I saw him again for 15 years, or I think I saw him one time at a meeting. I had already had my daughter. I might have had my son, but I know I had my daughter. He was at a evangelistical meeting that we just both happened to be there, but we didn't get to speak to each other. Yeah, we didn't get to speak to each other or see each other or anything. And that was it until my world came crashing in November. My kids were severely abused. I was severely abused for 13 years. I asked God to get me out, and it just seemed like no matter where I went, there was no door open to go out. I had been belittled to the point that I didn't believe in myself.
Right.
I worked a job that was a very good job. I made more money than he did, paid all the bills, yet I let him make me believe that I couldn't survive without his money, and that my kids would starve. And so I stayed in the marriage until I called my mom one day, and my mom, on that particular time, said, "God said at the end of the year it'll be over." And I said, "Oh, Mama, there's no way. This is November. No way God's going to work it out by the end of the year." But God immediately worked it out. He found me a home, a place to go, a job, my bills paid, everything in just a matter of 2 months. And that... And
he's a miracle worker.
He's a miracle worker.
Yes.
Thanksgiving Day in '84, he called drunk.
Because you had gotten married too.
Yeah, he had gotten married too.
Okay.
And my wife passed away in '84 with cancer.
Oh.
And so God just brought us back together.
I had sent a sympathy card.
Oh.
And
okay.
I let my friend read my sympathy card and mail my sympathy card, and I have a feeling that she put my number in there because I didn't put my number there, but he said my number was in there. And it said if I needed to talk,
and that's her story, and she's sticking to it.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And it's the truth.
I know.
And so he called and said, "We just want to talk, be friends." I said, "That's fine. I don't want anything else either." I was just going through the divorce and everything, so I didn't want anything else either.
Yeah,
and
scary.
Then quickly, God just started a ministry, the marriage, everything, all at one time. It was it was quickly done. It was a God thing.
Yeah, a God thing that you can't deny.
No.
So this April we'll be married 35 years.
35
Yay!
years, yes.
Congratulations, both of you.
Yes.
That's fantastic. You see how God works?
Yeah.
That's what you were just
Exactly.
fixing
I
to
was
say.
just fixing to say, that's how God works.
He is so good.
Yes.
And you've pastored for I don't know how many years.
I've pastored for at least 28 years now.
Wow, that's just great. I just think that's beautiful.
It is.
It's a love story. It's a Cinderella story.
It really is.
You know, I mean that can be a source of encouragement for so many people.
It's a love story that God created.
Only God can create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. God's the answer.
He is the answer.
You know, we try to find the answer in many different things, but God is the answer.
He sure is.
And if we have anything, it doesn't make no difference what it is.
He will answer.
If we'll just turn to Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'll tell you, Jimmy, there's probably somebody, you know there is, watching or listening today that hasn't really accepted Jesus as their Savior. Would you like to share with them how can they do that? How can they know that they know that they know?
And the easiest way I can say is this. I had a man ask me, he said, how do I talk to God? I said, how do you talk to me? And he said, well, I can physically talk to you. And I said, that's the same way you talk to God.
That's right.
And in an hour, this man had accepted Jesus Christ and God had changed his life.
That's great.
And I would like to say, if anybody's out there and you don't have Jesus Christ in your life, and you would love to change. There's, you know, you're tired and you're sick of the old life that you try Jesus. Try Jesus. He's the answer.
Always.
He can change your life quickly.
Yes.
When Jesus Christ comes in and you open that door, he said, behold, I knock at the door daily.
Right.
I stand and knock. And he said, if any man will open unto me, I'll come in and make my abode. And so all you have to do is open that door. He's a gentleman. He will not force himself on anyone.
That's right.
But just invite him in. He's willing and ready to come.
He is. And it's just that easy.
It's
just making that decision.
We make it hard.
Yeah,
But it's
I say
just
that all the time. The world makes it hard, but it's not. Well, okay, so you two, I know, have a lot of different experiences and things that you have been through, but if you were to choose one thing that you wanted somebody to take away from your testimony today, what would it be? Just in a nutshell, really quickly.
Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior.
That's the best.
My nutshell would be, he's with you no matter what you're going through, what your journey is. I've been near death. I've had amputations. I've had you name it happen to me, and he's never left my side. When people fail you, he will not fail you.
That's
he will be there till the end. He
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Thank you guys so
You're
much.
very welcome.
I'm so glad to have met you.
I'm so glad to meet you.
It's been a pleasure.
It's going to be fun because I know this won't be the last time we'll
sure
meet
hope
again
not.
at
I
some
hope
other
so.
musical events.
Our paths will cross.
They absolutely. Well, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, Jimmy, or both of you for music, or for you for pastoring, or maybe not pastoring, but bringing a message somewhere or whatever. I know you're retired.
We travel and do a lot of evangelistical work now. And we preach revival meetings and concerts.
Yeah.
And so they can contact us at Jimmy Riley, P.O. Box 602, Jourdanton, Texas.
Now you're going. I was going to say you're going to have to spell that.
Jourdanton, Texas, 78026. Our phone number is area code 830-570-4463.
Very, very good. And I know that somebody's going to be getting in touch with you.
We're always available.
Yes.
To
Well,
do what God
yeah. He opens the door and the times.
That's
Yes, he
right.
does.
Yes, he
Absolutely. And if you are a child of God and you would like to share your story on what love means, then you can get in touch with me. You can go to my website at htvministries.com and you can see all of the What Love Means shows on my website. Then you can get in touch with me at Country Girl Sings at live gospellive.com. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or maybe a 2 or 3 hour drive around that diameter, I will be happy to come to you and allow you to share your story and get your message out, just like Jimmy and Debbie have done today. So thanks,
Amen.
guys,
You're
for
good.
coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Go with God.
Go with
Amen.
God.
Go
We
with
love
God.
y'all, and we'll
Amen.
see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.